The I-Ching, also known as the Book of Changes, is an ancient Chinese text with a history spanning over 3,000 years. It functions as both a philosophical system and a tool for divination. At its core, the I-Ching offers a way to consult the forces of the universe, providing insight into life's questions through its symbolic system of hexagrams. If you're only interested in learning how to use the I-Ching for divination, feel free to skip ahead to the designated time stamp in this video, as I will first briefly cover its history and underlying philosophy. The origins of the I-Ching trace back to ancient China, with its foundation often attributed to the legendary sage Fu Xi around 2800 BCE. Fu Xi is said to have received the revelation of the 8 trigrams, Ba Gua, through supernatural means. These trigrams, composed of 3 broken, yin, or unbroken, yang, lines, represent fundamental forces of nature, such as heaven, earth, fire, water, wind, and mountain. During the Zhou dynasty, 1046 to 256 BCE, King Wen of Zhou expanded this system into 64 hexagrams by pairing 2 trigrams together. This development was canonized in a text known as the Zhou Changes of the Zhou, which contains interpretations of the 64 hexagrams and their specific line statements, Yao Ci. Later, the philosopher Confucius, 551 to 479 BCE, and his followers are believed to have contributed to the development of the I-Ching by writing commentaries, known as the Shi, 10 Wings. These commentaries deepened the philosophical and cosmological significance of the text. What we now call the I-Ching, or Book of Changes, is composed of the original Zhou and the 10 Wings. The I-Ching is rooted in the idea that change is the only constant in the universe. It is built on the principle of yin and yang, the complementary forces of dark and light, passive and active, female and male. These opposing yet harmonious forces are represented by broken, yin, and unbroken, yang, lines. A hexagram, the central feature of the I-Ching, consists of 6 lines, each either broken or unbroken. The combinations of yin and yang lines across 6 levels create 64 possible hexagrams. Each hexagram corresponds to a specific meaning or situation, which can be interpreted in relation to the question posed by the seeker. As a divination tool, the I-Ching employs cleromancy, which involves the casting of lots. A reading can be cast in several ways, including flipping coins, counting cracks on oracle bones, or using the yarrow stalk divination method. The results are then converted into hexagrams, which can be interpreted to reveal one's fortune. Over time, the I-Ching evolved and gained prominence as a tool used by rulers and thinkers to consult on decisions ranging from political matters to personal guidance. In addition to being one of the 5 classics of Confucianism, the I-Ching has significantly influenced Chinese philosophical thought, particularly Taoism and Buddhism, through the introduction of concepts like yin and yang, qi, and the 5 elements. Its impact extends to fields as diverse as mathematics, science, medicine, martial arts, philosophy, history, literature, art, ethics, military strategy, and religion. Even modern binary code, used in computer systems, can be traced back to the work of the German philosopher and mathematician Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, 1646 to 1716, who was inspired by his study of the I-Ching. Let's learn how to use the I-Ching as a divination tool. Here is a step-by-step guide to performing an I-Ching divination. Step 1. Set up for the I-Ching divination reading. Step 2. Ask your question. Step 3. Begin the casting process. Step 4. Draw the initial hexagram and note the changing lines. Step 5. Interpret the initial hexagram and changing lines. Step 6. Interpret the transformed hexagram. Step 7. Reflect on the reading. Let's start with Step 1, set up for the I-Ching divination reading. There are 2 traditional methods for casting an I-Ching reading, the coin method and the yarrow stalk method. For simplicity, we will focus on the coin method, as it is more accessible for modern users. To begin, gather 3 identical coins with distinct heads and tails. If you're in the USA, the head is the side showing a past president. If you're in another country and unsure which side is heads or tails, simply assign the designations to what makes sense to you before casting. In addition to the 3 coins, have paper and a pen to record your results, and a copy of the I-Ching, either in physical book form or online. Step 2. Ask your question. Your question should be clear and specific, yet open-ended. Rather than asking yes or no questions, frame your inquiry in a way that seeks guidance. For example, instead of asking, "Should I change jobs?" you might ask, "What guidance can the I-Ching offer me about changing jobs?" Step 3. Begin the casting process. To generate a hexagram, cast the 3 coins 6 times, once for each line of the hexagram. Each coin toss represents either a yin, broken, or yang, unbroken, line, and the sum of the tosses will determine whether the line is changing or unchanging. Here's how the coin toss works. Assign 2 points for each tail's result, yin. Assign 3 points for each head's result, yang. For each throw of the 3 coins, add up the points. If the total is 6, 3 tails, this is a changing yin line, broken. If the total is 7, 2 tails and 1 head, this is an unchanging yang line, solid. If the total is 8, 1 tail and 2 heads, this is an unchanging yin line, broken. If the total is 9, 3 heads, this is a changing yang line, solid. Changing lines, 6 or 9, are significant because they indicate transition and transformation. If there are changing lines, the meaning of the reading may shift, creating a second hexagram to interpret. Step 4. Draw the initial hexagram and take note of the changing lines. Starting from the bottom, draw the lines according to the results of each coin toss. For example, if your first throw results in an 8, you would draw a broken line at the bottom of your hexagram. Repeat this process 6 times, building the hexagram from the bottom up. Once all 6 lines are drawn, you will have a complete hexagram. If any lines are changing, 6 or 9, make note of them by writing the number 6 or 9 next to the line. Step 5. Interpret the initial hexagram and changing lines. Now that you have your hexagram, consult the I-Ching to interpret it. The hexagrams are numbered from 1 to 64 and are arranged by combining the lower and upper trigram to find the appropriate hexagram. Each hexagram has a corresponding explanation in the I-Ching. In addition to the core meaning of the hexagram, pay special attention to any changing lines and read their interpretations. If there are any changing lines, the hexagram will transform into another one, which we'll call the transformed hexagram. Step 6. Interpret the transformed hexagram. This step is only necessary if there are changing lines. A changing yang line, 9, will become an unchanging yin line, and a changing yin line, 6, will become an unchanging yang line. Draw the transformed hexagram based on the changing lines and consult its meaning as well. Step 7. Reflect on the reading. The initial hexagram reflects the current state of affairs, while the transformed hexagram shows the state after changes have taken place. The specific changing lines provide detailed guidance about what actions to take in the situation. Reflect on the initial hexagram, the changing lines, and the transformed hexagram in relation to the question you asked. The messages are often symbolic and may require contemplation to fully grasp. The I-Ching encourages aligning with the natural flow of events rather than forcing outcomes. Let's walk through a complete example of an I-Ching reading to demonstrate how the process works. After completing Step 1, set up for the I-Ching reading, move to Step 2, ask the question. Imagine you're facing a career decision and want guidance about whether to pursue a new job opportunity. You might phrase the question as, "What guidance can the I-Ching offer me about changing jobs?" In Step 3, you begin the casting process by tossing the 3 coins. You will perform 6 coin tosses, 1 for each line of the hexagram, recording the result of each toss. For each toss, you add the points from the 3 coins. Heads, yang, equals 3 points. Tails, yin, equals 2 points. Here's an example of a possible result. Toss 1, 2 heads and 1 tail equals 8, unchanging yin, broken line. Toss 2, 3 heads equals 9, changing yang, solid line. Toss 3, 1 head and 2 tails equals 7, unchanging yang, solid line. Toss 4, 2 heads and 1 tail equals 8, unchanging yin, broken line. Toss 5, 2 tails and 1 head equals 7, unchanging yang, solid line. Toss 6, 3 tails equals 6, changing yin, broken line. Step 4, draw the initial hexagram and note the changing lines. Starting from the bottom, draw the lines based on your results. Broken line, unchanging yin. Solid line, changing yang. Solid line, unchanging yang. Broken line, unchanging yin. Solid line, unchanging yang. Broken line, changing yin. This will give you hexagram 48, the well, Jing. Step 5, interpret the initial hexagram and changing lines. Hexagram 48, the well symbolizes a source of nourishment and wisdom that is always available but must be tapped into. This suggests that while the new job opportunity may offer personal growth, you need to ensure you have the right skills and knowledge to succeed. You must dig deep into your personal resources and continue cultivating your talents. Now, interpret the changing lines, positions 2 and 6, as they indicate potential shifts in the situation. Line 2, changing yang. This situation indicates that your talents may be overlooked either by yourself or others. It's important to draw out your inner strength and not neglect your innate abilities. Line 6, changing yin. This describes a scenario where you can access resources or opportunities at will, indicative of good fortune as you possess the qualities necessary for success. The analogy is of a well brimming with fresh water that benefits everyone, including yourself. Step 6, interpret the transformed hexagram. Since you have 2 changing lines, the hexagram transforms into another one. Changing the 2nd and 6th lines results in hexagram 53, gradual advance, Jian. This suggests that all development, especially things of value, occurs gradually and at its own pace, so it's wise not to rush the process. Step 7, reflect on the reading. The initial hexagram, 48, the well, suggests that the job change could be beneficial, allowing you to utilize and recognize your talents and address any skill gaps. The changing lines reinforce this interpretation, indicating that acknowledging and using your talents will bring good fortune and benefits to everyone, including yourself. The transformed hexagram, 53, gradual advance, suggests that the job change is likely part of a gradual progression in your career. The I-Ching's overall message is one of cautious optimism. Embrace the new job opportunity with care and gradual effort, focus on personal growth, and ensure you have the right resources and mindset. This approach will lead to long-term fulfillment. In conclusion, whether applied to personal or professional matters, the I-Ching serves as a valuable divination tool for gaining insight into the dynamic nature of life's choices, helping you make more informed and thoughtful decisions.